This is Brad from Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi reporting live from Able Ideas' beautiful downtown studios in downtown Detroit. Today is our special episode with all the comic book models taking a photo shoot for our new 2-year calendar due to come out in a few weeks. And we've been discussing everything from soup to nuts, including the 3 latest episodes of comic books on the Able Ideas tablet, and they're looking real good, and the girls are looking good, and they're all cliffhangers, so you got to buy more if you want to keep up, and it's pretty exciting. I'd just like to introduce the panel to you. You may recognize their faces, but you don't recognize their voices. We have Q. Say hello, Q.
Hey, this is the Q.
We've got Zoe next to Q.
Hi, nice to
Hi,
see
Zoe.
me.
We've got Nick next to Zoe.
This is Nick next to Zoe.
There you go. Mark, who's usually behind the scenes but has the prize-winning Ant-Man video that you've seen on our website. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
See, there he goes. Mr. Sexy Voice. Richie, say hello, Richie. He's our consummate actor who's been in fancy movies that haven't come out yet, but he looks good on the stills he showed us.
Yes, hello, Richie. You're looking fine.
There we go. And of course, our resident comic book artist, Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Bonjour, mes amis.
Okay, mes amis. And our man on the board, Denver, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
I will be the taskmaster today, keeping us on
master of
track.
tasks.
Oh, I like the reference there.
Comic book reference.
So let's start off with the Golden Globe nominations, which were announced this week.
Very interesting this year.
Yeah, I think we got robbed again. The movies in our preferred genre make more money than any other movies in the business, and we got short shrift this year, I think.
I mean, how big of a slap in the face was that they put The Martian in comedy?
Well,
That
comedy or
doesn't-
musical, because we know that Matt Damon is a real singer.
Oh, he
of
was
course.
just prancing around Mars.
But I guess it was pretty
movie.
funny.
There was that one scene where he did tell a joke.
Yeah.
Oh,
He did,
what?
And he
that's
did sing a
very
song.
Right.
Very
But
serious.
they did want to recognize it because there wasn't enough room in the drama category, so they had to put it somewhere.
Is that really what it is?
So why not just add another movie or
Yeah.
take a movie that's not as deserving out?
You know, they
and put
have
that movie in there.
they have a limit. They can only have, however many it is, 5, 6 nominees
Right.
per category. And once you go to 10, then it isn't really a contest
Okay,
anymore.
then so why not take the movie that was least deserving out and put The Martian in there?
But what about making a new, like, what Nick and I were talking about, making a new genre of nominations, which would be like sci-fi or,
That's not a bad idea.
you know,
Sci-fi
because-
fantasy. You know,
Fantasy,
action.
yeah, exactly.
The only concern about that is what happens when comic books and science fiction fall off? Everything eventually.
Well, here's the next
stops.
question. Why don't
Well,
they
it's
just have a
cycles.
best comic book movie
Right.
at this point? There's so many comic
Right.
book movies. They
Right.
almost
Yeah.
deserve
It's
a
evolved
category of their
into a
own.
genre.
Golden Globes is Hollywood Foreign Press.
Yeah.
See, okay, so now consider the audience we're criticizing. We're talking about non-U.S. citizens reporting on movies, and maybe people in other countries don't watch the movies that we like.
In a very small number.
Yes.
I think there's only maybe 75 or so members of the Hollywood Foreign
I think
Press,
that's
so-
I think that's what it is.
Too. You know, among film connoisseurs, if you will, because
Right,
I think
I
there's an
can
elitist
see
thing
that.
because Roger Ebert and references if I'm wrong said that comic books are it's not real art, or video games aren't real art. Yeah, he said the video games aren't real art. Despite the fact that there's a lot of creativity, hard work that goes into them. So I really believe personally that it's an elitist mentality.
Well,
What do
I
you
guess
think?
you can give him that. That's true, but you don't see a lot of movies like it. There are an Expendables movie would never get an award.
That's true.
But I know I've seen at least a dozen action movies that could have.
In that last Expendable movies, he should have got the best actor.
I totally agree with you.
But
Well, let's talk about, not to change
Yes,
subjects
please.
too much, but let's talk about the positive of the Golden Globes. We did get a Mad Max Fury Road.
That's true.
Best
As
drama.
a drama.
Wait,
Who would have ever thought?
That's a positive?
As a drama?
That's a great movie,
What?
Q. You're crazy.
How often does a remake get like?
Well, it's not
nominated?
necessarily a
It's a sequel.
remake.
It's
It's
a
a sequel.
reboot
It's my
sequel.
only
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch it.
It's a
say-
recall. It's a recall. Yeah.
Only reason I say that is because out of all the geeky movies that were out, you chose Mad Max.
Well, I think
Well, was Charlize Theron in any other movie?
Not really.
Do I have to say anything else?
Right.
I think that's really what it was.
Yeah,
Because that's the elitist thing going. Was there anybody? Oh my God, Charlize Theron, she was awesome. Well, you got to nominate that movie because she'll go up and accept it with her prosthetic
with
arm
her-
and everything.
yeah.
90-something% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's almost on. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
it's
rare.
very popular.
That's very rare.
Speaking of other pluses, Game of Thrones got a Best TV Drama nomination. So that's the only geeky fantasy. Anybody
What
watch?
else they was gonna give it to? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Oh, sorry.
Well, I think Game of Thrones is a large audience. A lot of people like it, and
cinematic.
It's
it
very,
is very
yeah.
cinematic, and the amount of effort that is being put on those sets, like just the.
But it's not CGI. It's
No.
real sets.
Yeah, those are
exactly.
It's real
and
solid
that's why
art,
it
isn't
deserves
it?
the
There's a
nomination.
little CGI, but it's not overly CGI.
Right.
No.
Not like a comic book movie is 80%,
Right.
and everything's done in front of green
what I
screen.
like.
Exactly.
Right.
Most
So
of,
what are the odds of Mad Max or Game of Thrones actually winning?
Well, I can
Nomination is
see-
one thing.
I can see Game of Thrones
You
winning.
definitely.
I can't
100%.
see Mad Max winning.
Neither can
I don't
as
think
much as
so. There were a lot of other really great.
Well, what was
movies
it
out
up
there.
against? Do we have that list?
Spotlight,
Mad Max is up against Spotlight.
Spotlight, and that's gonna win.
Oh well, Spotlight's yeah.
Who the hell's in that?
Every comic book.
Don't get me
hero
started
ever.
on Spotlight. I got a whole theory. That is
Oh,
the
man.
movie about the Boston Globe, I believe it was, who investigated the Catholic Church and all the
Yeah.
Star-studded cast, right?
and the cover up. And so I think what the director did, I haven't read anything that proves this, but I think he cast people that we see as heroes because they've all played superheroes. We've got
okay,
Michael
that's
Keaton,
tricky.
Batman.
Oh.
We've got Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. We've got Howard Stark, what's his name, John Slarity.
Yeah.
We've got Dr. Manhattan, Billy Crudup. We've
Wow.
got Sabretooth. He wasn't a hero, but he was a...
Sabretooth.
But in
Yeah.
a way,
So that's
in
a
a
good
way,
theory.
a comic book guy would go see it and say, "I'm seeing all the people that at least played the people."
So
I
can-
yeah,
I
so
can
they're
see
pulling
the
in that
list.
superhero, group.
Yeah, their group.
And they're also saying these are real life heroes. So
Right.
let's get people that we
Associate with heroes to be.
That's very
So anyway, that's my 2
tricky
cents on
from the
that.
casting part.
actually, yeah.
Subliminal casting.
I like that.
Yeah.
Subliminal casting.
All right, so now we have to move on to comic book news, and I think Nick and Q have some.
I just have a quick little thing that I discovered in the the latest issue of Famous Monsters of Filmland, and that is, and forgive me for not knowing the publishing company, but you can easily find out online. But there's going to be a new Lost in Space comic book coming out in February of 2016. What's fascinating about it to fans like me is that it's allegedly the stories are based on scripts for a 4th season that never happened.
I heard about that.
So for all you Lost in Space fans out there who want another fix of Dr. Smith and Jonathan Harris's beautiful dialogue and characterization, you're going to have to do it in your head, but the dialogue should be fairly accurate to the original script. So that is definitely a comic book to look forward to. Q, what do you have?
I have Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Coming out for 6
Very
issues.
different.
Wow. If it compares nothing to Lost
contrasting.
in Space, but for a Batman fan,
Sure.
I'm a little excited.
Yeah.
I love
it's
that it's
coming
in
out.
Detroit too.
It's coming out for
area.
6
Nice.
issues.
Is it?
In DC. And,
What's the storyline?
Well, the story behind it is that I guess Krang transports the Shredder and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Gotham. And so the Foot ends up stealing all the parts from the labs, trying to build a machine to go home. Cool. So Batman ultimately realizes that the Foot is not the League of Assassins because their fighting styles are different. But he also runs into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and deducts that they're not with the Foot because they're trying to stop them, and it's gonna be.
Sounds like fun.
I gotta go get the first issue. It's gonna be,
I just
amazing.
want to see Batman say, "I like turtles."
Well,
Wheel of Fortune, dude.
are we going to talk about the movie too? That's coming up next summer.
Which one?
What he's the we watched, or
Well,
that's
if
another-
Batman would be in that, then that would be
Well,
amazing.
he's not in that then. I didn't see him in the trailer. Is he going to be
no,
in the movie?
unfortunately.
No, there is
Oh.
a new. Brad's talking about the new Teenage
Teenage
Mutant
Mutant
Ninja
Turtle
Turtles
movie?
2.
Yeah, that
And
trailer.
from
think-
what I've seen, it looks better than the first one.
Oh,
It
that's
is.
great.
It's
I
lots of-
the
actually
trailer
think
looks better than
Visually
the entire
stunning.
movie.
Yeah.
I actually think Megan Fox acting went from a D+ to a C-. I'm just saying
because she has
Like-
more. She
might
has
get
more
credit.
action.
Because they hire her for her
I saw
acting.
some unbuttoning of a shirt, and it had to be better.
Oh, and it was like the wind machine was working real
I'm
good.
telling you.
He is an understudy of Michael Bay, so there you go with the midriffs and the,
It said from Michael Bay, didn't it? It's- yeah.
Well,
He's
look,
producing the movie, so
Okay, well.
Only thing I'm saying is, Megan Fox acting went from D- to D+ in the first one.
Then maybe they wrote her a better
Maybe
part.
they-
Any kind of actor
Yes,
is only
okay.
as good as the part that they're acting.
Sometimes.
And that's
I
when
decided-
I always stick up for
Right for
Hayden
her, she
Christensen
couldn't
when
do
those
it.
kind of
Right.
subject
Right.
matters come up. Yeah.
And let's not get hung up on
Okay.
our
Right. Now,
our friend Megan here.
yeah.
What about we've seen some new?
Turtles.
We got some new characters in this
Bebop and
one.
Rocksteady.
Bebop.
Oh, yeah.
And like I was telling Chris earlier, I actually like this Bebop and Rocksteady as opposed to the one from
really?
the 90s, because to me they made the ones
In the 80s.
In the 80s, they made them. They were clowns. To me, they're actual,
They have-
real life scary henchmen that they're
They were pretty
supposed
tough
to be.
enemies to beat in the video games.
It seems
Yeah.
like they
Yeah,
have
it
some
is.
characterization
Well,
this
from what I
time.
saw
Yeah,
in the
like they actually
movie,
put it
the
behind.
movie trailer, your Rocksteady is the
Bebop
Rhino.
and Rocksteady.
Rocksteady is the Rhino.
Uncle
Yeah.
Ruckus.
Yeah.
Way better than the Rhino in the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series, because that was like a 16-year-old kid on some kind of Doc Ock serum.
Yeah.
But way better visual, and it was good to the original story.
One thing I want to say too, a lot of people are upset because of the CG look of Bebop and Rocksteady, but because it's a homage to the original 1987 cartoon, I really like it. I love
No,
the
it
way
looked
they
good.
look.
No, I like the way they
awesome.
look. I like
Okay.
the way they look.
Well, the
Stunning
fanboys on the
imagery.
blogs.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
was very good image.
All right. So what about the Arrow? He makes an appearance in the new
The Arrow,
trailer.
yeah, is in here. He's playing
Stephen
Casey
Amell.
Jones. He's playing Casey Jones. I don't
What's the verdict? Yay or nay?
know. I mean, to me,
He could be a movie star in the
to
making.
me,
Without a militant opinion?
I know, right? It's shocking. To me, he's gonna do nothing but look like you know how he acts when he's happy on Arrow, and it's kind of like Stephen Amell's fake smiling all the time. That's kind of how it feels like on he's gonna be in here, like because he can't be the dark and brooding. You failed this city,
Right.
all the
'Cause
time.
it's more campy.
And then
man.
in here he's kind of like.
All right, Q. I got to cut you
happy.
off. We got a couple more trailers we got to get to. How about the Legend of Tarzan?
That
I'm very
looks
excited
awesome.
about it.
Yeah,
That
very
looks great.
visually
Mark,
pleasing.
I just
tell us
have-
who's in it. Tell us who's in it. Who's in the movie?
Sexy voice.
Skarsgård. Trying to remember.
Alexander
Skarsgård. Samuel L. Jackson. Christoph Waltz.
Whoa.
And,
Samuel L. Jackson in it. You know it's a good movie.
And I'm about to say 3 words: Samuel L. and Jackson.
and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
Oh, as Jane?
I'm so tired of these.
It's hard to see without the
motherfuckers.
And Hyman.
Motherfucking jungle.
Jansu. What's
Hyman. No, Jaimin.
Jaimin
not
Hansu.
Hyman.
Oh, I love that guy.
Hyman Roth.
He's actually a very good actor.
Oh, he's great. From Made Famous in Amistad was his first big role.
Yes.
Oh
Right.
yeah, he is.
And
Okay, I'm
nominated for
sorry,
an
I did
Oscar
wrong.
in the movie.
I only know him from
what
Amistad.
was the name? It was by Jim Sheridan.
Oh, In America?
In America, he
Yes.
was nominated for
Okay,
an
that's
Oscar.
still too obscure.
Who was?
Okay,
He
let's
was.
vote. Are we excited
Denver
for
keeps it
Legend of
real.
Tarzan?
Yeah, it
Yes.
looks good.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
Just because
I'm
Jamin's in
very
it is
excited
awesome.
for that movie.
Just because Samuel
Just-
L. and Jackson.
Just the
Yeah.
vote. No more commentary.
Nice.
X-Men Apocalypse is the big
Big
trailer
talk.
of the week.
I'm excited for that one,
I
too.
would comment, but I think I'm yawning now. Excuse me.
Like my buddy Q said, Apocalypse looks like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers, and his lack of booming voice. I wasn't. It was a little bit underwhelming. To me, it's more the same. Now I enjoy the X-Men movies, but from the very first one, they've deviated from the continuity of the universe.
This is how I feel. I feel like all the X-Men is gonna run out and say it's morphin' time, and I hate the fact that a cosplayer with a limited budget can make a better looking Apocalypse than a studio with millions of dollars. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have the book sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't like the Apocalypse design. I got to be honest. In the comic book
It
with the
looks
big
fake.
A belt buckle. I like the movie version.
So what is he trying to break into the Avengers or something with that
Well,
belt
they're
buckle?
trying to make it more realistic for the movies. Movies are different than comic books.
Okay, I understand
You have to
that.
ground
I
it
get
in
that.
some
I get
reality.
that.
That's
I
true, but
understand
they
that.
still could have made it a little.
But when
You guys
you
are stuck in the
deviate-
comic books.
No,
Get a little
no.
bit into the
What
reality.
about Psylocke though? She looks like a complete rip out of the comic books by
Right.
Olivia
If
Munn.
we
She
were
looks
so
perfect.
stuck in the comic books,
Well,
then nobody
great.
technically
That's
would have liked
great.
Nolan's Batman.
Well,
because it
kinda
was not comic
goes
bookish at
against
all.
your point.
Well, the other big revelation of the trailer is seeing all of these characters that we know, or some of the characters that we
Like
know.
Jubilee?
Young, yes. Yep. And then Jean
Nightcrawler.
Grey.
Nightcrawler's
Yep.
in it.
And Jean.
Yeah.
So
And
this
then
is
the big reveal with
Cyclops.
Xavier's bald head.
I know.
That was
That
awesome.
was
So
awesome.
What
we
a
find out why
huge
he
reveal.
loses his hair. Is
Probably
that-
has something to do with Apocalypse.
Cancer.
You know what's
Maybe.
interesting?
I didn't know that. I
It's
thought he was
Jubilee.
bald before Apocalypse, but
Well, movies are
If
different
you
than
watch
the
it.
comics.
right.
Jubilee was it was a back character in the first X-Men movie that came out in 2000,
Right.
and she was a prisoner in X-Men United. So that's kind of interesting
All she
that they did
was
that.
do like a little bitty spark
Wasn't
fireworks
that
True.
out of her hand.
January Jones in First Class? Who
Yeah.
did she play in First
She
Class?
played Emma Frost.
I'm about to say she played Emma Frost, right?
So
Yeah, okay,
that
I wasn't
she
sure.
isn't
We.
Okay, so it's safe to say that the reviews on that one are mixed. At
very
best,
mixed.
right?
Yes,
I
for
think.
sure.
still
It
gonna-
remains to be seen, I think, is what we.
It
what
remains
we'll-
to be unseen.
But
Okay,
Bryan
so-
Singer's doing it, so it's worth a look for
You got to
sure.
give them.
The
yeah.
comic book guys don't like it. The film guys like it.
Yeah.
Yes. Good
And
assessment.
we're
No,
the
wait a
only ones
minute
that
now.
count then, the comic book guys.
No,
I
you,
don't
you guys
agree.
represent a small majority of the movie-going audiences.
Okay, how about... Okay,
He doesn't
All right,
represent a
next.
small anything.
We're out of time on the trailers.
I can say that. I'm in the same
I mean,
category
I
as
could
you.
really go into a discourse as to why you're wrong about that,
agree.
but
We don't have time.
But
we
don't
don't
be
have
on
time.
This is how Denver is off the camera, guys. So
TV recap time. TV recap time. I think I'm the only one that's still watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm
Is that-
watching
Yes.
it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So what did
okay.
you think about the fall finale?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm watching it to see how it leads up to the next Marvel movie. That is what I'm
Right.
watching that
That is
show.
the best thing about that show is how it interacts.
That's
with, like, the
why I
Captain
like it
America and
too,
Avengers.
because it lets you know what's going on in the background until what, Civil War is the next thing
And
that
I
happens.
love when they bring in characters from the movies, like Powers Booth. I love how they bring them into the show, and I'm looking forward to more characters like that. So I'm just gonna keep watching. I'm hooked.
All right, now this one was a couple weeks back, but Gotham, the fall finale. Did anybody watch the Gotham?
I seen a little
Yes.
bit of it.
Yeah, I'm still behind in my Gotham.
But I'm behind. I was behind on it, but I seen a little bit of it. Again, Gotham to me will always be if you can get by the fact that every character in there is a name from a comic book, it's really just a great police drama.
Yeah, it's a crime show.
It's a crime
Yeah.
show. It just so happens that everybody in it is
But it's great to
out
see
of a
the
comic
villains
book.
starting to come together.
come
You got-
together
you got
and
the Riddler and
the Riddler and Mr. Freeze at the
Yeah,
end.
it's
Yeah.
basically
That was
what it is.
epic.
It's like, just like a spin-off from Batman comic books.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so now we have the other one that is going strong is Supergirl. Q, are you watching
Well,
Supergirl?
Supergirl. I'm
Cutie
just,
pie.
Spoiler alert if you're going to spoil something.
Spoiler alert. The winter finale is tomorrow, but the episode before that with Martian Manhunter revealing himself. It was funny because I had an argument. I'm like, he's not Martian Manhunter, little alien from the first episode, like brainwashed him or something. I didn't think he was Martian Manhunter.
Well, they kept setting him up as the villain.
Yeah.
With the glowing red eyes.
I was like, the aliens, remember the lady from the first episode, when she would take over people, they would have glowing red eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he just got brainwashed. And it turns out, John Jones. And when he revealed himself, it was amazing because like I was telling everybody earlier, the John Jones in Smallville was cool. But the way they did this one, it actually looks like Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it was cool. And
It
just
was
generally
really
speaking, what's your take on it? Because I watch it every week with my daughter. She loves it.
Okay. I think it's excellent. I think I'm happy because they're branching off. You could tell they're not trying to just be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Oreo. I'm glad that they're taking off. And this was a rumor going on that the Flash was supposed to cross over.
Well, it has more of that Flash vibe where
Flash
it's fun
vibe.
and bright.
Right.
And,
I would like to
And
see
it's
that.
like,
It's
like she emails Clark every now and again, and Jimmy Olsen's in
And you
it,
see a
so-
silhouette
Well,
every once in a blue moon.
once in a while. But it's actually really a really good show. Everybody should check it out.
And then we've got Jessica Jones on Netflix.
Yeehaw,
Brad,
Jessica
I think you've been
Jones.
watching.
It's actually good. They've only been dribbling out what her powers may or may not have been. They just, in the episode I just saw, she has since met up with Luke Cage, Power Man. We had no idea. There's an interesting link in between the two of them that I won't necessarily ruin. I think that it has a lot of good potential. I'm trying very hard not to binge watch it. I'm trying to, so I can
Make it last.
Yes, exactly, because you don't know when they're going to put out the next 13 episodes because they give it to you all at once. But it's definitely a good watch.
And it's kind of the adult version of Supergirl.
Yes,
Whereas
that is
Supergirl
exactly
is,
right.
More
light and
campy
bubbly.
and-
She's
And
hot.
it is
but
definitely an
female-based.
yeah. It's a PG-13 mini R condition.
Almost R. Almost
Yeah,
R.
there's no actual bared flesh, but there is the implication of certain behavior that probably parents don't want their kids watching.
PG-15.
Yeah, PG-15 at least. Yeah, absolutely.
Did anybody watch? I think the only other comic book out there show was Walking Dead. Anybody watch
Oh,
the fall finale? Oh, the Flash. We
I'm
forgot.
about to say the Flash.
We forgot the
Arrow.
Flash and Arrow just did a big crossover.
yeah. That's just one.
I'm
One big
behind
sprawling
on
show
that.
now.
Well,
Anybody watch the crossover?
I never missed an episode of Flash and Arrow. They're both epic, Damien Dark. And then the episode is funny, the 2 episodes before the crossover, Constantine was on Arrow.
I saw that. Yeah.
Constantine was on Arrow, and that was kind of a farewell to him since they canceled his show on NBC.
Oh.
But another rumor is that Legends of Tomorrow, the new team-up show that's coming out, is not going to keep the same lineup every season. So he might end up on season 2.
So we might have
Of
a
Legends of
future
Tomorrow.
of Constantine. He's
Well,
not
they
gone
can't keep
forever.
those villains as heroes all the time. Captain Cold and
well,
Heatwave.
They were saying that each season with the different villain, you would need a different team. You can't have the same team going after the same because you
Okay.
need different components. So
Yeah.
if there's a magical enemy in season 2, it would make sense to have.
And that'll keep it from
John
getting
Constantine.
stale,
Yeah,
mix
you know,
it up. every
Mix it
once
up
in
a
while.
little bit.
And the other reason is that's why they don't kill them.
That's true.
Because they are bad people and they should be killed. And they don't kill
We
them.
can't
because-
cross that line. It makes us no better than
Right,
them.
exactly. So that way you know they're going to come
Comic
back
book
and
They
see
need
philosophy,
to bring
Brad.
Green Lantern
and
into the whole
haunt you
fold. I
for
think-
not doing what was really
I
right.
actually liked the rumor when it was said that John Diggle, it was supposed to be Diggle was supposed to be his middle name, and it was supposed to be John Diggle Stewart, and he was supposed to be the Green Lantern. But now they're supposed to be saying he's going to be the Guardian instead, which I have no problem with. But I don't think they're going to do. Only thing with DC is since they're not crossing the movies over with the TV shows,
Oh.
I don't think they should do as many
They're gonna
of the
do-
same characters.
You know they're going to bring Aquaman into the whole thing.
into TV.
Yes, because they referenced him.
They did?
When?
I think it
Is
was
he
the
gonna
Hawk-
look
it
more
was the
like
Hawkman.
the-
An
Hawkman.
Arrow or Flash?
Flash.
Okay.
I think it was the Hawk. Oh
Interesting.
no. I think it was Who was it? It might have been the Flash 2 from Earth 2 might have mentioned that he's friends.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Jay Garrick mentioned that. one of his ex-girlfriends or something moved to Atlantis.
Yes.
And she was like, Atlantis? He was like, yeah, it's like off the coast.
I know my mortgage is underwater.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up our TV recaps and go on to some of the new movies that are out. Opening this week was In the Heart of the Sea. Is that what it's called?
In the Heart of the
Which is
Sea,
very
yes.
exciting.
Moby Dick.
I really want to see
That was a very boring movie. I'm sorry
Really?
to say. Yes.
Oh,
But
moo.
it looks like it's a great cast, though.
See what I
It's
did
a
there?
great cast, but it was a horrible script.
Okay, well, that's understandable because it is a nonfiction book. I read the book. I did a book report in 7th grade on it. It's a very factual book, and the only really narrative aspect of it really comes from the after the crash happens.
It was yeah. The movie goes back and forth between. The movie goes back and forth between the character. I think it was Nickerson.
I don't remember.
Thomas Nickerson.
Yeah.
He was the cabin boy on the ship of the Essex.
Which is who narrates.
Yeah, he is being interviewed by Herman Melville for his book Moby Dick.
Oh, I see.
And he just tells the tale, and the movie goes back and forth between him and the situation that happened with the ship.
Interesting. Is it a good? It looks like a beautiful film, though.
It looks like hyper real, like
Okay.
the cinematography. They used a lot of different filter effects, playing with just how the imagery looks, the sea
Okay.
and the sun and everything.
It doesn't look realistic.
It doesn't look realistic at all.
The only thing I got from the trailer is that, and I have to spoil this movie. I'm sorry. Sperm whales, not the size of blue whales. Okay,
That's true.
Sperm whales, killer whale size, humpback whale maybe size, but not blue whale size, which means the movie's so long it can't possibly be good. Beautiful, yes. Awesome special effects. Totally wrong.
But the movie really doesn't
I
have
think
much
that
to do with
irks
the
you, Brad.
whales.
Tell us how you
It's
really
mostly a
feel.
survival tale.
Right.
The movie is mostly a survival tale. These guys
Right,
trying to
but
brave
there's
the
a
elements.
shot with the Nina Pinta Santa Maria and this giant blue whale-sized
Okay.
battering
Wait a minute,
ram coming through and knocking over all these boats. And I'm telling you, no sperm whale ever in history, in archaeology or whatever it is, they find the damn bones. They're not that big. It couldn't have happened. It couldn't have been a white whale.
Well-
it couldn't have been a sperm whale.
Duly noted.
Like Monstro the Whale from Pinocchio, right?
No, maybe, but he was blue still.
Okay.
But it did actually happen. It's a nonfiction.
It may very well have happened, but it's exaggerated.
In the film, I understand.
Okay, let's reel it in.
It's the only
pun
thing they
intended.
exaggerated.
Nick, you saw.
Yeah, that got a little hostile.
Nick, you saw Krampus,
I
correct?
saw Krampus yesterday, and I thought it was a classic. It was an instant classic. It was
good.
great on every level. I recommend it for everyone. It's a scary Christmas movie, but ultimately it is a Christmas movie. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but when it's all said and done, you will walk out of there saying, that was as much a Christmas movie as It's a Wonderful Life, and I'm not joking about it.
Whoa! Wait a minute now. Hold on here.
Definitely.
That's a
check
pretty
it out.
heavy lock.
I didn't say it was as good as It's a Wonderful
I
Life.
need
I
to
said it
ask
was
you a
as much of a
question.
Christmas movie as
Okay.
How many
Ortega
times
once
did you
said,
laugh
"That's a
out
bold
loud
statement."
to the jokes that nobody else in the theater got?
I don't know.
You were,
Maybe I was one of those who didn't get the jokes.
Oh,
I
you
don't
were
know.
okay.
keeping a scorecard?
I
Yeah,
find
yeah,
that
yeah.
in those kind of horror movies, there's almost always every 10, 15 minutes or so, there's a belly laugh.
Yes.
That if you're really watching it,
It was a fun
You
movie.
get it.
It was a lot like Gremlins in tone, a fun,
Yeah.
scary movie, but it was scarier than Gremlins, had better creatures. It was I went into it thinking it might have been like a low budget indie, but it was a high end Hollywood, great special effects. I just can't recommend the music, the cast, everything about it was great. Krampus, big pleasant surprise.
You sold
Good,
me. I'm
I'm
going to go see
excited.
it.
Yes, see it.
Wait. Mark also saw it, and I don't think he had quite the same opinion.
What a surprise.
You know what?
Surprise.
I am not as enthusiastic as you are over
Sure.
it. I thought it was too much of an 80s throwback movie.
I didn't even think of that.
I kind of looked at it like, it was a mixture between Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, Gremlins,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
and John Carpenter's
It was completely
The Thing.
original in every way.
But I when I saw it, I saw like all these movies kind of smashed into one.
Well, you're
But
old and
that's
cynical.
that's an occupational hazard of these guys.
But
nobody writes
I don't
an
think the
original
movie
thing
was
anymore.
really for me,
Okay.
for my taste. I think children or younger people would like it more, especially people that are really into nostalgia.
Yeah, I did. I only say it was like Gremlins in tone, but in every other way, it was a very original movie.
I
So not
I never saw anything like.
I would
There
have
was
to
no
say-
tongue-in-cheek stuff.
was a-
Were they really going out to scare?
Oh yeah,
It was
Good.
oh yeah.
great cast.
It was
The
scary.
cast was great, and I thought the production design was really good.
It was great.
Technically was really good.
Yeah. Well, it's just a matter of a little bit of taste difference, and that's
just
all.
basically it was taste.
So, all right.
All right, let's shift gears slightly. Christmas Day, we're getting a remake of Point Break, which is, I guess, a classic to some people.
Well,
I've never seen
a
it.
classic guilty pleasure. How about
okay,
that?
Guilty pleasure. Okay,
It's
so
like
that brings
Commando,
us
just
to
kind of a
yeah, Commando. It's not a great
Classic.
movie, but it's
Whoa, wait a minute, now,
people like it.
Commando was
People like
epic.
it.
Yeah,
Is that the one where
I really don't
I
think
let
you
him
could
go?
compare
Yeah.
those two movies.
So
I
awesome.
loved Commando. Don't get me
Okay,
wrong.
Okay, so
I'm a
anyway,
Commando
I dressed
aficionado.
Commando.
my point of bringing Point Break
Dress
up
it all.
Kidding.
was that we want to talk about remakes. We're going to do a regular
Ah.
segment every podcast here.
Okay.
I guess we'll tentatively call it Remake This. My first choice for a remake is a 1987 movie called The Hidden, which stars Kyle MacLachlan. It's a very fun movie, borderline exploitation. You have the evil alien running down old ladies and walkers, and going into hot strippers who are feeling themselves up. I mean,
Oh,
it is
goodness.
so gratuitous and in some
Sounds
ways
hot.
badly
Didn't they leave? But they
made.
left it as an open-ended. We were all sure there was going to be a sequel, anyways, because you just don't know.
Yep. And so yeah, you could make it a sequel instead of a remake.
Right.
But I think it's one of those movies that I don't think there's enough fans that would be upset if you remade it.
No, it's been long enough.
Yeah.
30 years is plenty.
Yes, exactly.
I was gonna say a movie that I don't know if you guys know about this movie, especially you, is
Me.
Maximum Overdrive. Remember that movie?
Stephen King.
I think that would be a cool remake. I mean, they can really amp up the
Yeah, because
gore.
that was not a good movie by any means.
No,
but
it
the
wasn't.
premise was interesting.
No, the premise was
Tell people
like
what
with,
the premise is if they don't know.
basically possessed machinery vehicles killing people, and the main bad guy was a semi truck with the Green Goblin face on it. You know what I'm just to oversimplify to. It was a bad movie, but I'm just saying,
was
like,
so bad.
that would be a cheap thrill remake, and especially with all
If
the
I remember correctly, I think Stephen King also directed it for the first and only time.
Remember
so
the
that
lawnmower
might
scene?
explain.
Didn't he
That
write
might
it
explain why
directly
it
for
was
the
terrible.
screen as well? Was
Yes.
it only directly to the screen written
Correct.
story?
Yeah.
Anybody else have any good remake
I do.
suggestions, Nick?
Well, Zoe and I were just talking about Stephen King. She just started reading The Talisman, and I was making some recommendations to her. And I think although I love John Carpenter, I thought one of his worst films was Christine, because it was such a great Stephen King book. It's a wonderful novel, and it really deserves to get a first-class screen treatment. So my vote would be to do a good quality version
That
of
would make
Christine.
a good 3D remake too.
that would be IMAX.
Well, there's so
Yeah.
much to
Oh, wow.
Christine besides the car, the way the main character deteriorates.
Would you
and-
change the car?
No, the car is the car. It has to be that car, you know.
But I remember the effects being
Well,
pretty
but that's
cool
what
when
they do. But Nick, that's what they do in
reformed and changed.
remakes. They change.
Well, it's irrelevant what the car is. The main thing is to
Okay.
follow the story.
That's what I mean.
And to follow what happens to these characters, which I remember seeing the original after reading the book, and I was absolutely appalled.
Right, because
So
30
more
years ago, the car was
character-driven?
only 30 years old.
Yeah.
Now the car's 60 years
That's
old and a
true.
lot less likely to be found,
That's true.
even under any circumstances.
Sure.
No, I don't know.
All right, so anybody else? Remake.
I
Q.
got one. Okay, don't laugh. The one comic book movie I really want remade because I know it was terrible was Steel with Shaq.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Anything with Shaq immediately.
That
goes-
was-
needs
Wait a
to
minute,
be-
that was an instant
really-
classic
I
in my
mean,
family.
What about the Phantom?
it's
with Billy
hammer
Zane?
time, but
Oh,
I
man.
think I would really want to see Steel remade because I really like Steel as a character. So I think they could really do Steel, especially work him into this universe that they have
Steel
with the
is
Man of
sweet.
Steel.
Steel's a cool character.
I mean,
And who would you cast?
honestly,
LeBron James.
How about an unknown?
Yeah, right. Michael Jordan.
Idris Elba.
Does he have to be really tall?
No, I would actually cast either him or Michael Jai White, which is also my pick for Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, if they do. But
I think that's the Fast and Furious guy, right?
Jamal
no,
Hansu.
Michael Jai White is the guy that was
No. That's going to be the Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern. Yeah, that's the Fast and
What's his
Furious
name?
guy. Tyrese.
Tyrese, thank you.
Yep. But Michael Jai White was in Spawn. He was Spawn.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was Spawn.
Oh yeah, that's a
But,
good movie.
Played
They
Mike
could-
Tyson too.
All they got to do,
new one.
the only reference you have for Steel is Superman just swoops in, saves John Henry off the thing from falling.
Yep.
And boom, that's Steel right there.
And he was a
That's
weapon
it.
specialist, kind of like Tony Stark,
Stark.
too.
So, and that's Steel. That's your origin for Steel.
Nice. Any other remake suggestions? I know Mark had
Green
one.
Lantern.
What about Life Force?
I agree.
Tobe Hooper's Life Force.
I agree with
Oh, I
you
thought
about
you were gonna say
Green
that.
Lantern.
Alien vampire story.
I'm going to sidetrack for just 1 second because Life Force played a big part in this movie called Electric Boogaloo. It's a new documentary out
geez.
all about Canon Films.
Yeah.
I want
And
to see
that
that.
is a great movie. It's a great. They talk about the last Superman with Christopher Reeves,
Right.
And they talk a lot about Life Force because that was their biggest budget movie they had ever done.
Masters
at that
of the Universe.
Yeah, they did Masters
Over the
of
Top.
Universe. Yep, a lot of great
Death
geeky
Wish.
movies. All
yeah.
the Chuck Norris.
All the Chuck
80s
Norris.
movies.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a great documentary.
The Octagon.
Yes.
That was. They didn't do the Octagon.
With
No, that would be a great
all
remake.
the
a good movie.
all the popularity of horror in like the vampire movies and the werewolf movies is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Well, that's a TV show now, isn't it?
Is it?
it's a TV
Yeah.
show
On the
now.
El Rey Network.
Yes.
On
Yeah.
the what?
Robert Rodriguez, who directed
Yep.
From Dusk Till
Nah.
Dawn, started up his own television network, and that was his flagship show.
Oh, shit.
Because he had the rights to it, so he might
Oh,
as well.
all right.
Yep.
I didn't know
Cash
that.
in.
I'll have to check it out.
It's a huge hit. It's a huge
Yeah,
hit.
unfortunately, the El Rey Network I don't think is available in Michigan yet. I've tried to get it, but no luck.
You know,
Is it available sneaky online anywhere that you can?
I'm sure you
Probably.
can pirate
Yep.
it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure it's pirated
I
over there in
don't-
Mexican
yeah.
town.
I don't recommend it.
I'm
but-
sure.
Wow,
it
that
is.
wasn't offensive.
I know that this might be blasphemy, but I would actually like to see a remake of Fist of Fury, also known as The Big Boss with Bruce Lee. I just think that would make a really
Why?
good.
Why?
There's no Bruce Lee, so you can't redo
Exactly.
it.
Yeah,
well,
that's
Donnie
the
Yen.
problem.
No, that's
Jet
true.
Li is no
No.
Bruce Lee.
No,
That's
I
the
said-
only-
I said
Harry
Donnie
while we're
Yen.
at it.
Oh my
no,
God,
no,
no.
come
We're
on.
going to do the game of
I
death,
just think
too.
that it would. I just think that it would make a good. It was a good gritty crime story, and I just would, or maybe something inspired from it.
What about
Maybe they
Demolition
do it
Man?
with a woman.
Whoa.
Okay, now wait a minute. You own to something.
Fists of Furiosa.
Curiosity.
That's hysterical.
What about Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I
Been
would
killing you
love.
for
I
40
like the
years.
original. I love the original, but I
You know
would
what?
love to see a remake.
I would like
One
to
of
see a
Wesley
remake.
Snipes' best
I would like to
parts.
see a remake of it, but Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes reverse roles.
No, they're too old now.
No, they wouldn't star in the movie.
Can you imagine him running out trying to get some Taco Bell? Nah,
He's running out of breath, but it's all good.
Maybe a cameo.
Wasn't what's that girl that was in it?
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah.
You know that little no-name.
Yeah.
That little no-name actress.
Yeah.
She was in
She
Speed
was.
at the time. right?
Nothing
Yeah.
like an Oscar-winning actress.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
you know what? Did you see
She'll
her
never
in the
win an
last
Oscar.
award thing, where she was giving the words of wisdom to her 4 or 5 years old kid? Don't pick your nose. That was it. That was the rules to live by. Not in your car, not even in private. Just don't pick your nose.
That's
Really?
good.
That's
Wow.
all she's
Keep
got
your
to
hands
pass
clean.
on to
It's
the
good.
progeny.
It's a good lesson.
Oh yeah, it
That's
is.
It's
cute,
deep.
though.
Keep your hands
About
clean,
that
you won't
deep,
get into trouble.
actually.
Zoe, any suggestions for a remake? Something that you thought almost was good, but would be so much better if you had a chance?
Never-ending story.
It looks like Chris has something
No,
to say.
I want to hear what
I
you
really
what
wanna
you what you want to say. It just
All
dawned
eyes
on
are
me.
on you.
Yeah, it just dawned on me. Never-ending
In case you
story.
can't see
that
that.
would be a cool remake.
That
Oh.
never ends.
Gem and the holograms.
Actually,
Wait, they did that already.
no. They should remake Gem and the Holograms because that was terrible. And it's actually.
Wait, you actually saw it?
Yeah.
Oh!
You were the one person?
Yeah, you were the one person who went to see it.
I think they need to make it more 80s and less Hannah Montana. So that's all I have to say. They need to make it again because it was not okay.
Well, so what they need to do is they need to rewrite the entire script, find a better director and a better casting director, and then maybe in 10 years
some better wardrobe people and makeup people.
Yeah, it was.
Jim was a guilty
lame.
pleasure
Or
of
subject
mine.
matter.
Because as a man,
I'm sorry.
that was
good. I
that was a
liked-
taboo
I
thing to
liked
like
Gemini
growing up as a
Holograms.
kid,
What's
But
that?
I used to love Jim.
Why?
I'm
They
not
were
even gonna
girls.
lie.
Didn't you like girls? I never
I
understood
know,
that.
There was
You
a
like
point in
that?
my
That's a
life-
bunch of girls. Yeah, they're girls. That's why I like
Okay,
it.
There was
we
a
about
time
to
in my
dwell
life
into
when I
some
was
stuff that we don't
confused.
need to. Denver, I think we start with a new topic.
Actually, I think we're almost done. I just wanted to share one story. I started following Bloomhouse. They have a great website, Bloomhouse. If you guys, Nick is familiar with Bloomhouse. They do all the Insidious and
Jason
Paranormal
Blum.
Activity.
Okay.
Yeah, the producer Jason Blum. And he's got a great website for all things horror. I think it's just bloomhouse.com, so check it out. They got a Facebook page. They posted an article this week that just kind of blew my mind. I don't want to oversell it, but it was about the proposed making of Fright Night 3.
Okay.
So we all know the first one's a classic,
Right.
great movie. They did a sequel. They got different creative people, so it wasn't the original writer-director, even though they had Roddy
McDowell
Yep.
and
And so I guess part of the problem was their budget got slashed, and so it just kind of tanked. Well, they convinced the original writer-director to make a third movie. Now, unfortunately for the life of the movie, the rights were somehow got into the hand of a guy named Menendez. And so Roddy McDowell was producing it, and he said, hey, I want you, the producer, to get to meet the director and hash out a story and agree on everything. Well, unfortunately, before the director was able to meet this new producer who had the rights, he was murdered by his two sons.
Oh, I remember
Kyle and
those.
Eric Menendez.
Those nasty boys. Yeah.
Menendez.
Wow.
So unfortunately, we never got a Fright Night 3, and instead got the remakes to tie it back into our remake discussion. But I just thought my mind was blown. I was like, whoa. Now the interesting thing is, Roddy had warned the director, listen, this is the nastiest, meanest, worst producer I've ever dealt with in my life. So when you go in there, just be cool, be calm, relax. And so it kind of proves the point of why the kids wound up killing them, sadly.
Oh my.
So it's a grim story for a grim movie.
Wow, that was
So dark. So dark.
So yeah, so that's
Can we end on a more positive note, being that it's December and
on a positive
joy
note, let's
to the
talk about
world?
next week. We'll try to reconvene again next Sunday, so we can talk about
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. If they should bar Wars, please let Star Wars stay.
Okay.
And hey, how about that nutty Star Wars bar? Did you see all the creatures in there?
I'm
And hey,
so glad I
Darth
like
Vader
Star
with
Trek.
that
Why
dark
is
and evil
Finn-
mask.
This
Did he
always
scare you
Bill
as much
Murray
as he
impression.
scared me? Okay.
I thought it was Bill Murray,
Please tell me
man. I
you
thought
didn't
you were
make
Bill
that
Murray.
up and that was
No,
somebody
Bill
else.
Murray.
that's
I checked
real.
it out.
Okay.
Saturday Night.
I am so glad I
So
like
yes,
Star
we
Trek.
will reconvene next week
feel
to
sorry for you.
recap all things Star Wars. And until then, thanks for listening to
Nanu,
our very
nanu.
first Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi podcast.
Indeed.
All
Thank you very
right.
much. Yeehaw.